Hello Porkies, this is day 83 of me playing chess every day until I reach the rapid rating of 2500. So here we go. We have the game, we have the white pieces against a very strong opponent. So let's play pawn to e4. My opponent's rating is 2100 and he plays the Caro-Kann defense. I will of course play pawn to d4 now. Pawn d5 is the best move here, of course, the Caro-Kann defense. And now I will play my tricky pawn to f3 here. This is a fantasy variation, it's very tricky. Taking here is the best, but it's very hard to get anything out of them. So my opponent plays queen b6, which is okay. Now knight c3, g6 or knight f6 are the two most popular moves. Both are fine. Also e6 is an opportunity to be solid here, nothing special. But we'll see what my opponent will do. This is just theory, nothing special. Um, so he plays pawn to e6, yes, logical. Now I remember that the best move is pawn to a3 here. And I had a lot of games in this kind of positions. Actually, maybe like 2 days ago or maybe 3 or 4, I faced this exact position where I played pawn to a3 and it was the best move. What is the idea of this move? Well, the idea of this move is to play bishop e3 and then if takes, knight f4 traps the queen. So that's the very simple idea. It is simply preventing bishop b4 and it's also maybe threatening kind of to develop this dark square bishop and then be perfectly fine. So my opponent doesn't know the theory here, which is pretty logical because it's not the most common position ever. Um, so yes, I mean I will try to be attacking and aggressive here. If knight f6 now, I think just e5 and then f4 and like f5, maybe h4, h5. I have a lot of ideas here, but knight f6 is I think the best move. Also knight e7 is a possibility, but then your dark square bishop is kind of weird here. Also you could potentially try to play the move pawn to c5 here, but after bishop e3 I think I'm fine. Takes with the bishop. Looks pretty bad for black, I think. I am overdeveloped. I will play bishop b5 as well with some great structures and piece placement. So yes, the other option to develop this bishop is simply to play g6 and bishop g7. Then you will have a lot of pawns on the light squares fighting my f1 bishop here. Will be blocked by these pawns here, but we'll see how the game will continue. My opponent is a very strong player, but he's spending a lot of time here. Um, I guess that's natural. If you don't know how to play and how to handle the position, then you should spend a lot of time. And these fantasy Caro-Kann positions are not similar to the majority of Caro-Kann players, of course. I simply think that developing with knight d7 is slightly better than developing with knight to e7. Why? Well, firstly, with knight e7 you are just kind of not playing c5 because of c5, knight a4 would kind of um, be a fork or something like that. So, but also on knight d7 you're blocking in this bishop, but you are at least playing c5 and this bishop is just bad, yeah, because you played e6. Well, you are at least solid, I would say. My opponent continuing to spend a lot of time here. Um, we will see what my opponent will do. He's 21-19, so that's a very high rating. I don't know if I have ever beaten an opponent strong like my opponent. Maybe I know I have beaten like 2100. Of course, in rapid we are speaking. In blitz, I also beat a lot of good players already, and in bullet, I once defeated a grandmaster. But doesn't matter for now. So knight d7 is played with an idea of c5. That's logical. I think developing with bishop e3 or bishop to f4 is very natural here. I'm not sure why. What is better? Bishop e3 looks kind of nice. Also, bishop d3 doesn't look bad, but it blunders a pawn, so that definitely shouldn't be missed by me. Knight e2 blocks in the light square bishop, so I think I will play bishop e3 with an idea of takes, knight a4 wins the queen. Um, so that's it. Bishop e3 with some pressure on. If takes, I will probably if takes, I will probably take like this, and then win a pawn in the center. So we cannot play c5 just yet. You have to play knight f6 first or 97. But if 97, then I can take. And if c5, maybe I can play knight a4 firstly, but then there is queen a5, c3, and I am at least very solid. But my knight is kind of misplaced on a4, cannot go back. I mean, maybe b5 would be quite stronger, but I would still have knight c5, but doesn't matter. My opponent spent 3 minutes and a half on the move knight to d7. That means that he is ready to try to outplay me in this one. Because if you are stronger opponent in a chess game, then you should think more than your opponent does. So he plays pawn to g6, very interesting. But this just allows like g4 f5 ideas. Hmm. Bishop d3 is met with bishop g7, and then e5 is probably f6. Will I play f4? I'm fine. Here c5 still loses this pawn. Do I think I will just play bishop d3? Bishop d3, queen b2 still loses. Nothing is changed. Now c5 takes here. No, firstly takes here. If knight takes, then I take. Well, then I win a pawn, yeah, so it doesn't quite matter what I do, and the knight is pinned, so maybe b4 as well. So we play bishop g7, okay, you are threatening to take the pawn here, so I have to play pawn to e5 here. Wait, but after pawn e5, then there is c5, yeah? If takes, knight takes. Not that great of a position. Now I have to think a little bit. There is also knight e2 to be flexible. That's reasonable to defend the pawn like that. I think just knight e2 is fine. Am I blundering something? I wanna pressure him on the clock as well, but I know he's a good blitz player. Probably. Knight e2 takes and takes is fine. And then e5, I can just push with d5. No, my bishop is hanging there, but still. Knight e2, e5 is weird. After takes. Uh, wait. Knight e2, e5. My bishop is hanging. So takes here, you take here. I take here, attacking the knight. You take back. Excuse me. Knight e2 there is, but e5 is just threatened, yeah. So if e5 now, then there is c5. Takes, knight takes. And then maybe f4. Well, I will just go for it because knight e2, then there is e5. But now knight gets to f5 as well. But I have like g4 to go like this. If you don't play c5, I play b4 myself. Well, now b4 maybe then there is a5 as well. But knight a4 going here doesn't look that bad to me. And your queen will also get kind of trapped. Maybe not, but I think it will get trapped. I mean, it goes to c7, but then a b4 is nothing because I take back, and if rook takes on a1, I take with the queen back, and I'm perfectly solid, perfectly almost winning, I would say. So yes, you have to be pretty careful. c5 is the only move in the position. I think you play a5 stopping b4. This is never a threat, yeah. And now c5 is an idea. Yes, because I had before, yeah. I think that's the point. Now c5 is kind of a threat. But I can play like f4 here and knight f3. And if takes, bishop takes. Yes, I will do that. f4. Now this gives me a time. If c4, well, bishop 2, and I'm probably gonna just win. You play a4, okay, but now this gives. Oh, but now you're threatening to take on b2. I get it. I get it. This is a threat now. I have no knight a4 anymore. So what do I do? Queen c1 looks logical. Queen d2, I don't think it works though. Probably not. Rook b1, I don't wanna play it. But I guess, I mean, it looks nice, so I will play rook b1 here. Why not? c5, I go knight f3, I'm perfectly fine. And g4 and h4 and h5 and f5. And you're never castling long because I play b3, open up the queen side as well and mate you there. If you castle short, I will mate you here, I guess. You have 97 now. I play g4. It might look insane. Oh, he has h5 there. You go for it then, of course you do. With pressure on the pawn. This is a threat now. If I play knight f3 here and bishop f2, c5 I have to take it. Or I could play g4. Yes, I think knight f3, knight f5. Then I go bishop f2. After knight f3, knight f5, bishop f2, excuse me. Castles, and I go g4. And then f5, sacrificing the pawn. I don't think allowing this is that big of a deal. Because I go g4 with a tempo, yeah? If I would go g4 right away, then that's not with tempo. My opponent has the time to play h3. H5, excuse me, and I cannot play h3. That's the idea, because takes, and the rook is hanging with just lost position. So we're both down to pretty much low time. He castles, though I will castle as well. But yes, we only made like 12 moves here. But we're down to like 10 minutes. So that might be a time scramble if I don't blunder it before. I castle, but I can still like open up the position with f5. My rook is on the f file, so knight h4, g4 and f5. Why not? I mean, of course, like knight e2, c3, be solid. Then g4 and knight g3 and h4. If he doesn't play c5 now, well, even c5 I play knight e2. If you take me, I take with the bishop and then play c3 and g4 and knight g3, and wow, my position looks pretty amazing. If you don't play c5, however, after c5 and knight 2, I will play c3 myself. For example, like knight f5 also looks nice. Bishop f2 and then c5. But yeah, I mean, knight e2 takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and then g4 and f5 and c3. I'm solid on the queen side. The center is closed. That means that the game will be on the king side, of course. And yes, if you don't play knight f5 or c5 right away, I think you are worse. Queen a5 with an idea of b5, b4, b5, c3. Cannot play nothing. So knight e2 is a move my opponent definitely missed. c5, c3, c4, bishop c2. No, this simply doesn't work. Knight e2. I will play quickly this move. Why? Well, it's the most logical move ever. On knight f5, I'll go bishop f2. You go c5, I go c3. Well, I have a hole on b3. I don't think a knight can get to b3. I mean, it could potentially reach b3, but even if, what then? What will it be attacking? Well, nothing. If takes, however, I think knight takes is the best. I do think knight takes is the best. c4 is the most logical move, I think. But you should spend a lot of time here if you're black. I mean, I don't think black's attack on the queen side is strong enough because I have really easy moves to play. Knight g3 after g4, knight g3. I'm opening up the king side with f5, f6 is the threat, then queen d2, bishop h6, bishop d7 takes, king takes. I mean, whatever. That's a move I have missed, but it blunders a pawn, so I guess that this is quite bad. I'm not sure if my guess was correct. Yes, before now is a big threat, I think. I think before cannot be allowed. But if here before I take and I win the game, if here queen c7, kind of trying to get this pawn back, well then still before cannot be played, d4 cannot be played. No, queen c7 also blunders this pawn. The idea is knight c6, I guess. But knight d4 takes and bishop takes doesn't look that bad. I will see. I have to take. I have to do it. Bishop b7 here looks nice, and then rook c8 or something. But you're still not breaking, even if you get the pawn and you take with the knight. Well, I will maybe take rook takes and then like g4. I have all the tempo in the world. The b5 is hanging. b5 is hanging. Are you sure? You will be down a pawn and this will be lost. Wait a second, what is this? Knight takes, bishop takes. Oh, this is check, so I get it. Here, but I play like queen d4. Oh, the knight gets to b3. Well, maybe that's not that great. But I could still like take and knight d4. This knight to d4 definitely. Now I have to spend a lot of time. Knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, knight f d4. f6. I take no. Well, maybe this knight because this one defends the pawn, and f6 won't be a threat. I will be up a pawn. If I can get the bishop back, then I should be, well, almost winning. There is knight d4 as well, and if knight takes I take with the bishop. Now I will be up a pawn. Let me calculate in silence for a few moments. I have to do it. Bishop b5 is the best move. I will call my opponent's bluff on this one. Also, knight takes I don't have to take with the bishop, but I think it's the best move anyway, because I cannot allow it to reach b3. And the fact that my opponent is not responding immediately tells me that he probably blundered this pawn. I mean, now I don't have the center like this anymore, but still. So yes, you take with the knight. There is 94 right away. Definitely there is 94 right away. But I don't think it's that great. I will take. think it's the best. Queen takes his check. I play knight d4 defending the bishop. And bishop takes on a4 is a legit move. Or even like which knight to put. Here allows f no. Here allows f6. Um and takes, it's not that bad, but I think this knight is better. And then I still can like push f5, but I will just be, I think, knight e d4. Maybe I'm off with this one, but I think it's the best. There is bishop a6, of course, but I play queen takes on a4 here, here, and I'm up 2 pawns, I think. Then the knight gets to d6, and I will be winning there. I mean, it looks nice. It's not anywhere near over, of course, but defending the a4 here is very hard. I mean, queen a7. Queen a7 is there. I can play king h1 there. And after bishop a6, there is still queen a4. Because you are undefending the a4. That's the idea. But we'll see what will happen. I have 1 minute on the clock as well. More. I have 1 minute more on the clock than my opponent. Which is pretty important in time scrambles as well, excuse me. Knight f5, you play knight f5, you really play knight f5, you're blundering, I mean, you're not blundering a pawn, but really, like, queen e2 here, knight takes, I take with the pawn there, they win the game. Also now g4, of course blunders here, but after queen e2 and g4, then this is a threat. Here, what is another idea? Here I go g3. And rook d1 and king h1 and I take. And I play g4 like any day of the week. Queen e2 defends the knight, defends the bishop on b5. Prevents the knight e3 idea. Maybe it's not the best move, but I played it in less than 1 minute. You shouldn't spend like 10 minutes on a move. You only have 8 minutes. No, of course. I mean, now f6, I guess it's a move. But I can just like g4. I can play g4 takes here. Then f5 myself takes, pawn takes, and like e6 or something. Also, the queen will be hanging, so the queen has to move, and then I can play f5 or take, and then f5. Something. If knight takes, there is also knight takes here. I'm not sure how big fan of that move I am, because cd4 looks more a better transformation of the position for me. But still, yes. King h1 probably my next move. If takes, then takes. But I have an extra pawn, probably this one. I mean, I have 3 on 2 here on the queen side, so that's my advantage. In any endgame, I should be almost winning. But I guess this pawn is kind of preventing this pawn to move forward. But also before, wait, what? Rook a5. This move makes 0 threats. Bishop d3 here looks perfectly logical. I mean, the idea is that if takes, then I cannot take with the pawn. They wasn't really intending to do so. Just a second. I need to concentrate now. King h1, knight takes on d4. Bishop d3, knight takes, pawn takes. Is fine. I'm not blundering anything. have a very solid position, and I will try to outplay my opponent here. Oh, now before is a threat. No, it's not. But it is after king h1. Then before is a threat. Ooh, that's kind of hard to see because it involves en passant. Um, Actually, king h1 has a threat in it. If knight takes, maybe knight takes. Just maybe. Because before is a threat. Takes, knight takes. I win an exchange for a pawn though, but still. I will be up on exchange. Clean exchange up. Um, I mean, what do you do? If you only develop with bishop d7, play king h1, and then you have to move other queen or the rook. I mean, because before is a legit threat that takes and knight takes is a fork. Um, I mean, it's hard to see that after takes and takes, forking king the two pieces. But yeah, I mean that's chess. Yeah, my opponent also down to 3 minutes. I will just quickly check my opponent's blitz rating. Excuse me. Um. Oh my goodness, his blitz rating is 1900, and I am 2000 in blitz. So, and I'm up a pawn. I think in blitz portion of the rapid game, it sounds weird, but it's true. I think in blitz portion of the rapid game, I will be the favorite. Now f6 is an opportunity. F6. Um, no, f6 probably takes and then takes here. Of course, I'm pinned, so that's not how it works. But my opponent will take here. I'm almost one. You play bishop d7, king h1 now, blitzed. Will my opponent see that I am threatening before? I'm hardly believing that my opponent will see the threat. Because king h1 simply looks like a, well, my opponent is moving out of the pin, it has nothing to do with the position itself. Oh, it has. Before is a threat. I mean, this rook a5 idea was just weird. And my opponent down to 3 minutes. I'm up on the clock and I won't just blitz the moves. I will think on my time as well. But I realize that I have b4, so I won't just play random move. I will play king h1 before and then knight b3 winning the game if that happens. But I don't think it will actually happen. It's a... Yes, he finds rook a8 back. And now we have to play the position on g4, knight takes, probably pawn takes, and then rook c1, and then f5 takes. I have the time, let me think. I mean, before blunders this pawn, so that's why I'm not gonna play it. It also blunders a3 after and rook takes. G4 knight G4 97 is something I'm worried about, but f5 then knight takes, pawn takes is the same position as it would be in the game, and then knight d4 is so powerful. So g4 here, I think I will take with the knight, although pawn takes looks great transformation of the position. I will just play g4. I spend 1 minute, and now my opponent has to make a decision. It's a hard one, but I think knight takes is better. You could go to h6, for example. I don't believe in it after h3. I mean, what are you doing? It has absolutely nothing good in it. And this knight is just insanely trapped there. Knight takes, I think I will take with the pawn though. You play 97, but now I play f5. 96, no, f5 now. Pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. Maybe not. Knight h4. f5, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. e6, here, here, takes, takes. And then my position should be just winning, I think. With like knight g5 and knight f7. It's hard. I have the time. Knight takes, pawn takes, knight d4. I'm winning there, I think. Rook d8, though. Rook d8. Well, then knight takes. If rook takes, I go queen here. No, f5 has to be winning. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but f5 looks insanely good. You of course have to take because otherwise f6 wins. One of the two pieces takes. I take back, of course, logical. I mean, you could, for example, play bishop h6, but you take, of course. Oh, you take with this pawn, really? But now you have. Oh, you have also bishop takes, which I haven't really calculated, but it doesn't look that good because knight takes. So you take with the pawn, yes, you do. But I thought e6 wins here. Maybe I'm just maybe that doesn't work. But e6 bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes here, here is check, and then yes, that wins. So e6 I think wins. It looks hardly not winning. If you don't take, well, I don't take here. I take here. No, wait. The knight takes. Play take here, and then rook takes in. And then something. Pawn takes, knight takes. It's of course completely fine. Working here, and then if takes, then this is check. If rook f7, knight g5 wins the rook. If king here, I still play like knight g5 perhaps. So you don't take. Of course you don't take. Knight takes. So the church is just ringing. Excuse me if that's something that um you don't like. Excuse me for that. There is rook g1 here. There is bishop takes here. There is here. Um, I can do pretty much anything. Everything. It's how the saying goes. Yes. I think rook g1 here. Would this be an idea? Queen g. Oh, but now maybe. I mean, it's hardly. Yes. Of course he finds it. There is knight g5 still. There is bishop takes. Bishop takes on f5. Looks nice. I'm threatening to take here and then take here and so you go here, which looks like what? Oh, the queen defends the bishop. So this is a threat now, yeah? No, it's not. It's never a threat. Even if takes. Taking on f7. Rook here. Knight e5. Trying to take here. have to be careful now. This is blitz now. I can take and push, and then there. But rook e6 at some moment. I think 95. With an idea of all these pins. Knight takes loses. Pawn takes here. Bishop takes. And then knight takes. Or rook takes. But this still has to be played. And my computer is slightly lagging now. I hope it will be okay for the rest of the game. Maybe. I mean, I will be talking less now because we're down to final minutes. And if I win this, then it would be pretty great. Maybe I won't win, but still, it's pretty amazing if I would. Now my threat is to take. Oh, you do this. It's almost not working. Wait. I also had knight f7 right away. Bad for me. In here. I have e7. Wait a second, I have e7. Queen takes knight takes here is an idea. e7. Rook e8. Check here. Well, I'm just too slow. Check. I think it's the best move, but I'm not sure. Rook f1. Now I think bishop takes on d4. Oh no, then there knight h6. King g7 takes, and queen f. Yeah, that should be made. If bishop takes it, I think it's made. Knight h6. I think it's made. I take here, but that's not forced. But threatens, I guess, here. Queen takes is... Is this a legit threat? Maybe I blundered. Queen takes is what I blundered. No, I'm just... Okay, you take with the king. Fair enough. But now this is made, yeah. It's not. Oh, but it is. It's not made. I mean, if here I think it's made. Or at least something. Here, you go there actually. I can firstly take with a tempo and then we'll see. Yeah, this is mate. I think I won. This is check. I think I am winning. I have 1 minute, so think. Come on, think. I go check. Then I can probably take with check or something like so. You won't resign, yeah? I take here and you resign. Is there any check after takes? I can even take like this. Is there any check? I don't think that it's a check that is good. I think you can resign chess a gambit. Yes, so you resign. Whew, great game, I think. Let's analyze it. Let's game review the game, as I like to call it. We'll see how accurately we both play. I think it was a very messy game. I think even my opponent was winning at the end. He was. So I played with 76% accuracy. My opponent played with 65. Just a very bad game. It was a tricky game. So let's see. E4, C6, the Caro-Kann, and I played F3. And after Queen B6, Knight F3, Knight E3, excuse me, E6 and A3, of course, stopping Bishop B4. And if you take, well, Knight A4. Excuse me. If you play like Bishop E7, Bishop E3, and you take now, well, Knight A4, you cannot go anywhere. That was the idea. So Knight E7 was played. I played Bishop E3, G6, Bishop D3 slightly worse, and now E5. Wait, what? Why didn't my opponent see that? He's 2100. And then now F4 is fine, and I'm +1 here. Knight E7, Knight F3, castles and castles. I'm +1 here. A Queen A5, Knight E2 of course, and C3. B4, B5 I took. Queen C7 I took again. Knight takes I took here. Queen takes and Knight to D4. And I decided to play Knight E D4, which was slightly better than Knight F D4. Knight F5, Queen E2 defending the bishop. Now I simply played Bishop D3 back, Bishop D7, King H1, threatening the move before. If you play King H8 here, B4 is a fork, then and passant and Knight takes is another fork. So you would just lose. He played Rook A8 back, so there is no B4 anymore. I played G4, Knight E7, and ooh, H4 was the best. And I played F5, which is still almost winning. E takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. Now I played E6, which is a mistake. Well, because of takes, Knight takes, Bishop takes, Queen takes, and you wanna say this that this is not winning after King H8 and Knight here. Rook F6. Well, isn't that a mate? Oh, there is no. Oh, and it's a draw. Because if you go here, then there is. Oh wait, what? Well, then is. Oh, Rook takes on F5. So he didn't took. He played Bishop C8, which I thought was logical. After Rook G1, now he lost. Bishop takes. Rook A6. Knight E5. King there takes. Maybe Knight takes on F7 was better, but Rook takes. And then here, I mean, it's completely winning. I took with the bishop. Where was it? So takes. Now knight f7, king g8 back. This was a mistake. I should have played. Really, this is winning. Takes here is made. But what is my threat if you play rook a7 back? Queen h5, king g8, rook bg1. I would say it's winning, but if you play like queen here, let's say. Oh, rook h6 is made. Of course. I played knight f7, which was bad. He took. I played knight h6, which was fine. Now I should have taken with. Oh yeah, yeah. This is losing due to queen takes. He played king takes, and I was winning once again. Wait, what? Yeah, but what? This is winning. And now c takes. Oh my goodness. I took c takes. He took, and now it's game over, of course. A very stressful game. I should have spent time slightly better. So I mean, here my opponent resigned. What can you do? You cannot take here because you're pinned. There is no check. I mean, yes, it was pretty good game. I think it was a very aggressive one, but I still managed to win, which was pretty great. And in the time scrambles, I think I was doing a great job today. I blundered a few times, but so did my opponent. So yes, if you have anything to tell me, please let me know in the comments below. I will be reading and answering all of your comments. And of course, as always, if you like the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help me out. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.